días, compañeras, compañeros.
Good day, colleagues.
I don't know about you, but I feel so inspired by Pedro's speech. And after having listened to Pedro, I have to say, there is nothing we cannot do. There is no goal we cannot achieve. There is no victory we cannot win. We will follow his lead in defining what is necessary for Europe, but most of all, we will follow his lead in defining our values, in fighting for those values, in showing to Europeans that we have their backs. And I think in this day and age, with so many insecurities, global insecurities, local insecurities, it is very easy for people to get lost in those insecurities, to only think about tomorrow and their own problems. But there is an incredible pool of solidarity available to people in all of our societies. It is our task to wake up that pool of solidarity and to put it to good use for the whole of society. What we have seen, and Pedro has described it so well, that for some people, their insecurities make them vulnerable for the call of the extreme right. The extreme right pretending they have all the solutions as long as they can find the scapegoats they can blame for things not working well. And wherever we see in Europe the extreme right becoming part of the government or shadowing a government, such as in Sweden and in Finland, we very quickly see that they gobble up the center-right. They gobble up the center-right, and the center-right becomes totally infected, as Pedro said, by the extreme right. Look at what happened to this grand old party, the Republicans in the United States. They were gobbled up by the extremists. And this is happening everywhere. So the thought in the center-right, we can encapsulate the extreme right and then neutralize them, has been false and has not worked anywhere in any country where it has been tried. And we will never ever, under any condition, form governments with the extreme right. This is not acceptable under any condition. And I have to say that I believe in what Elie Wiesel once said, that the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. And what threatens our societies today is the surge of indifference. Because those who propagate hate, they're always the minority. But they can become successful if the majority remains indifferent to our plights. And today, as a feminist, I say to the women in Europe, we will never be indifferent when they try to take away your rights. We will be next to you, we will be in alliance with you, because we know that the only way we can have successful feminist policies if there is an alliance between women and men who understand that we need equality. We also know that we need to fight for the position of peoples of the LGBTIQ community because they are under pressure. And I really want to assert and to signal the plight of the trans people in Europe who are so much under pressure. We tell them, we see you, we hold your hands, we're next to you, and we will protect you at any cost. This is our duty. The Green Deal was mentioned several times. And let me just say what the essence of the Green Deal is. The essence of the Green Deal is that we organize Europe's future in such a way that our continent becomes sustainable, but especially becomes more just. The Green Deal is a machine to create the jobs of the future, is a machine to give job security to people who today are not sure they will have a job in the future, is a machine to say to future generations, we're not only thinking about ourselves, we want to be good ancestors. We want to leave you a planet that is livable, a planet with decent jobs, a planet where Europe is still the place all the world wants to see and come. This is our duty, our holy duty. In 150 years of socialism, the core issue for us has always been all forms of emancipation. How do we draw people out of poverty? How do we give people the prospect of better lives? And today, my friends, this is as necessary as ever, because many people in Europe fear the future, and people who fear the future turn to solutions that will not work. Our task is to take away the fear for the future by simply showing that if we have an energy transition, we will make sure that the people who can't afford to be part of it will be supported in making that energy transition. We will make sure that social housing will become energy efficient, that solar panels are not just for the rich, that electric mobility is for everyone. That makes our houses better insulated, better livable, a better climate, but especially less expenditure on energy. That is doing something for people's pockets. And let's not forget that at the end of the day, in the last 20 years, where neoliberalism run rampant in many of our countries, if you compare the improvement in society, people who work hardly had any improvement. People who can live off their capital did extremely well. There is an inherent injustice in this. We need, also on the European level, to fundamentally reform our tax system so that labor is taxed much less and capital is taxed much more. And don't let them fool you by telling you that higher wages lead to higher inflation. The inflation caused in the last couple of years was mainly caused by huge profits in the economy, not by labor costs. Never let them tell you higher labor costs would hurt the economy. It's on the contrary. And by the way, and let me end on this. Just give it a bit of thought. If you tax somebody who's a millionaire a bit more, if you put a bit more tax on the profits in the biggest companies, does that change the lives in any way of the people who have profit from that they pay more into society? Do they travel less? Do they buy less? Do they live other lives? No. But if on minimum wage you increase people's income, even with a little bit, that changes their lives. They can start spending, they can make better choices, they can make sure their kids have new shoes, they can make sure they can take care of their health care, they can make sure they have a better prospect for the future lives. So don't listen to those who say you can't tax the rich. It's about time they paid their share in our society. And I am inspired by what has happened in Poland, deeply inspired. I'm inspired by a nation that, although the press was almost completely controlled, although the election was free but in no ways fair, still, people said, nope, we don't want to go down that road. We want to be a European nation, we want to be a democratic nation, we want courts to be independent, we want the rule of law, we want people to have individual freedoms, and these need to be protected. And you know who did that? Young people and women. We have young people and women to thank for this turn of history? And how do we make sure that young people and women understand that their future is our biggest concern? By showing it clearly, by showing that we take the climate crisis seriously and that we take steps to face that crisis now, today, tomorrow, every day, as the Spanish government under Pedro Sanchez has been doing for years. That is how we repay the solidarity of our kids. And how do we repay the solidarity for women? By being feminists, by punishing feminicide much harder than we do today, by making sure that gender-based violence is removed from our society, by making sure that women have equal pay, equal opportunities, by making sure that family matters are shared by men and women, and by making sure that all our children have loving families, regardless of the fact whether the parents are a man and a woman, 2 men or 2 women. Every kid deserves a family with loving parents, and their gender is no concern to authorities. Their gender is no concern to anybody but themselves. I find it horrible to hear that in Italy, a mother can be stricken from the register simply because the other parent is also a mother. This is unacceptable to us, and we will fight against this until our last breath. So yes, our fight is about values, our fight is about equality, and our fight is basically always been and will always be about solidarity. Thank you very, very much for your attention.